you can't hide. Talking all that trash, it's got your tongue tied. We king in the window, we'll start till we're finished. You better be ready to throw down. Calling us nameless, I'm missing the papers, and we find our way cause we know how. You get it twisted, we doing our business, they're chanting our names and it's so loud. Better believe it, we can't be defeated, no way. We are the heroes, we're talking legend. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Can't stop us when we go in. Kings and queens are folding. There's something in our touch. Feel the rush, yeah, we're golden. Sending out a message, leave them in the wreckage. Unbreakable, powerful, forces not to mess with. We keep it a window, we'll get till we're finished. You better be ready to throw down. Calling us famous, I'm losing the papers, and we find our way cause we know how. You get it twisted, we doing our business, they're chanting our names and it's so loud. Better believe it, we can't be defeated, no way. We are the heroes, we're talking legend. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. We are the heroes, we're talking legend. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens.
Hush now, dry your eyes. Fate is upon us, the changing of times. Welcome, blood red skies, burn in the wake of a world left behind. Da-ya, da-da-dee-da-ya, da-da-dee-da-ya, da-da-dee-da. Da-ya, da-da-dee-da-ya, da-da-dee-da-ya, da-da-dee-da. Can't escape the fallout. Feel the fire rain down. See the shadows rising all around. Can't escape the fallout, fallout. Down to the ashes, bones are left to dry. Waves of desolation, there's nowhere safe to hide. Da-ya, da-da-dee-da-ya, da-da-dee-da-ya, da-da-dee-da. Da-ya, da-da-dee-da-ya, da-da-dee-da-ya, da-da-dee-da. Can't escape the fallout. Feel the fire rain down.
Maybe the happy ending is you continuing to be the soft, loving person that you are despite the way the world has tried to defeat you. Maybe it is a calm nervous system, a peacefulness that cannot be threatened. Maybe the happy ending is you moving on, is you giving yourself the love you never got but always wanted. Maybe the happy ending is you embracing change, is you going in the direction of the things that grow you and move you and magnetize your spirit. Sometime we have to remind ourselves that we are not responsible for other people's poor behavior towards us, or their gaslighting, or their manipulation, or their unkindness. That's on them. What's on you is how you choose to respond, set boundaries, know your worth, and not let their actions impact the beautiful soul that you are. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats, so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it.
Welcome, I am Alisha Quinn, and today is October 11th, 2025. And this time last year was the date that I got the sign. So we're going to talk about the sign that I got and the lead up to that, the things that happened from me getting a job on September 10th to October 11th. And the song Fallout is very fitting. Can't escape the fallout. You just can't. You reap what you sow, and that's the energy game. You get what you deserve. You pay by pain and repentance, you know? And so you can't escape it. And it's very interesting, the things that happen sometimes of how we pay for the things that we have done, for sure. And that video was very fitting. You know, I have spent a lot of my life trying to conform to other people, what other people wanted me to be, and these things like that, and they were never happy with me. And you know, there comes a time when enough's enough, and be who I want to be, say what I want to say, think what I want to think, believe what I want to believe. And so anyhow, we're going to do this review of, you know, what brought me to, you know, this point. So I had a vision in the summer of 2001 when I was 23 years old. And the next year in June, I got involved in the church. That was after the whole 9/11 thing, because that was the summer of 2001 when I had that vision. And then after a few years in the church, I married my Christian husband, who was 23 years older than me. And we had our 2 children. And in 2019, this tiff thing started between him and her. We went through this whole battle. I woke up to the world and religion and kind of went down the conspiracy road. And then I left him. He died 13 months later in January of 23. And then I really started really waking up in the summer of 23 to my own reality and things. And just saw this movement starting to happen within my own life. I had major surgery on 9/11/23, and then I got involved with my 23-year-old boyfriend, who I had gotten a message about being in this relationship with. And I had this relationship with him. Things went down. I came to see who I had been playing in this game of life, the game in the dark where you don't know who you are. And, you know, so I had been the person to, you know, go in and test some people. I'd been the person to teach people lessons. I had been sent into places to flip people's tables over. And I had came to see this, and I'd been living in the Pacific Northwest all my life. And on June 25th, I got this woman that I ran into, Cece, and she gave me a message that she thought the rapture was coming. And then I just went through this thing and I was spiritually guided. I left Washington State going through that vision 23 years after I had that vision. And so then on that journey, I ended up at Ernestine's house, which was my former husband's sister in Minnesota, where the police showed up for me. The women lied to me, said none of them called the police on me. I left my children there. She had them put in DSS custody. I then went on. I ended up in Illinois, where I seen a man in front of the store who I seen back in Minnesota. Same earpiece. And so I thought I was being followed. I ended up in the hospital there on medication. I got out of there. My kids had been flown from Minnesota to Washington State, and Washington State flew my kids to Illinois. So I got my kids back. We made our journey down to the North South Carolina area, where something was just kind of happening with me. I couldn't figure it out, and I ended up back in the hospital again. And it really turned out that the medication was running havoc on me. But, I got a new perspective of, why would people spend so much money following me, Why would they do that, And so when I got out of the hospital, I was really questioning this reality thing, right? I watched a couple women get very sick in the shelter I was in, the ones that fretted over it the most, were the sickest, and ended up being taken out of there the same night. I ended up at a different shelter, a woman's house shelter, where I didn't say anything about it and nobody got sick. Kind of started questioning reality. And then I had to put my kids in custody, state custody, when I went back into the hospital. And so one of the conditions was that I had to get a job. So I got a job on the 10th of September. And so that's kind of like where we were at. And anything else, you could go watch my past videos of those stories and kind of what happened. And, I had found out when I was in Illinois that Ernestine had lied to me. And so I think that's what we need. And when I left Washington State, one of the things that happened when I left Washington State was that I had retold a different view, a different perspective of not playing the victim, of putting my grandmother's husband, Cal, in prison when I was 10 years old. And, the thing is that when you switch your energy and you're no longer playing the victim game, people don't like it. Everyone was tested in my life and I seen who was who. And so what happened at that point was when I got the job that I got, it was a ticketer for fabric samples, but they were very interested because I had sewing experience. And so, but they said it took 90 days to prove yourself, prove your work quality, your attendance and stuff like that before you got any promotion or, switch of a job, right? And so I started Tuesday, September 10th, and by Friday, they were training me on sewing the fabric pieces, seeing how I was doing on it and stuff. And I pretty much stayed there sewing. And so It was about 3 weeks, and they promoted me to being a surger and gave me a raise and everything. So it's very interesting when people say things and then they don't work out that way. So, and another thing that happened was that, I had came to a point where I could not take that medication. When I got out of the hospital and stuff, I could not take that medication. I had came to realize it was running me havoc. It was giving me all kinds of symptoms, a whole list of them. I could not function. I didn't know what to do with myself. I couldn't sit. I couldn't stand. I didn't feel like taking care of myself or any of those things. The whole zombie apocalypse thing kind of made sense to me, you know? So I could not take that medication. And I had had a doctor's appointment after I had gotten out of the hospital, and I also I had a psychology appointment also set up for the end towards the end of August, but then it got pushed out to the middle of September. I didn't even have enough medication to take anyways, but I had quickly stopped taking that after I got out of the hospital when I seen the havoc that it was running on me, and really took my power back and started working on my own mind. So I went to the doctor the following week after I got my job in September. I went to the regular doctor. Now, one of the things that had been going on was that I had higher blood pressure. So one of the medications that I was put on to counteract the effects of Abilify, which is for bipolar. So this medication to counteract the effects of Abilify was also to help with my blood pressure. So I started working on eating healthy and stuff like that. So I go into the doctor and they check my blood pressure. It was fine. Perfect. Can't say anything. They can't say anything. They can't push their drugs on you when you take your power back. And so, you know, we it was like I can't take that stuff. I'm allergic to it or something. I, I could not take it. And so it's like, well, you want to get some blood work done? I was like, no, I think I'm good. You know, they took a lot of blood work from me when I was in the hospitals and stuff. Yeah, I'm good. And so then it was like, well, they changed the age of mammograms and colonoscopies to 45. You want to get one of those done? I tell you what, they love to push it all out on you. It's like, no, I'm good. I think I'm okay. So, so that was kind of left. It was like, well, well, make an appointment when you need to be checked up and come in, come in. They kind of lose their power when you take your power back over your own health, really. And so, you know, anyhow, so then a couple days later, I had the psychology appointment. And so I went in there and I'm like, couldn't take it. And she was like, yeah, it looks like you had like every symptom that they could have. So then, and she was just like, well, you really, I could tell you got it together here. And I'd already gotten a job and stuff. So I'm like, I'm really doing good. And so it was just kind of like, well, we'll set up an appointment for in a couple months for, just for the sake of DSS, because part of my conditions was taking care of my mental health, right? So then I had gone through this whole thing. I really was looking at my reality. I was observing it, which if you raise your consciousness up, you go into a state of quantum observing, right? I'm really questioning the reality of things. I really had gone down this path of, why was I in this area? Why was I here? I really started working on me and my mind right away, working with positive affirmations and just really taking over the power of reprogramming myself and my thoughts and those things, shutting down different ideas of things. And I really had shut down everyone. Like I went no contact. I would not, my family, they put me on no contact. When one of them reached out to me, I said, don't contact them. I put everyone on no contact to see how things just worked here, So I was really questioning the reality and stuff. And so through the shelter house that I was at, and I had a caseworker there, supporting me and, encouraging me and guiding me and stuff like that, she came across a support group for trauma and stuff. And so I ended up getting involved in this group that, really went through of having like a wellness box kind of thing, making up plans for yourself of things that are going to keep you mentally healthy every day. And, when you're triggered, like what kind of things can you do in those times of being triggered. And these types of things. So it was a very good avenue for me for a time. And so that began the end of September, where I started going weekly on Monday evenings, getting even permission from the shelter because you had to be back by 7, and this group ran until 7. But it was just like 10-15 minutes away. So I was given, like a little bit of extra time to get back. And so we are going to go ahead and play a video, and then we are going to talk about something I ended up finding out about.
Trying to harm the chosen one can lead to a serious curse. This curse acts as a way to teach a lesson to those who attempt to cause harm. The chosen one is not just any individual. They are considered sacred and special. Their purpose in life often involves bringing positive change, guidance, or enlightenment to others. Because of this, they are under a form of divine protection. Harming them can result in severe consequences as it disrupts a greater plan intended for the greater good. The idea of a chosen one comes from the belief that certain individuals have a unique destiny or mission in life. This mission is usually guided by higher powers or the universe itself. When someone tries to harm a chosen one, they are interfering with this divine plan. This interference is not taken lightly, and thus the universe responds with a curse. The curse serves as a deterrent, making it clear that causing harm to a chosen one is unacceptable. It's important to understand that the curse isn't about revenge. Instead, it's about balance and teaching a valuable lesson. The curse acts as a way to correct the wrong actions and redirect the person towards a better path. People often try to manipulate or take advantage of chosen ones for personal gain. This can include using their influence, taking their resources, or undermining their efforts. Such actions are seen as attempts to harm the chosen one and are met with the same serious consequences. The curse can manifest in various ways, affecting different aspects of the wrongdoer's life. This could mean experiencing a series of bad luck, health problems, financial difficulties, or other significant life challenges. The spiritual implications of harming a chosen one are profound and far-reaching. When someone attacks or tries to harm an individual who is under divine protection, they are essentially challenging the forces that govern the universe. This act of defiance does not go unnoticed and can have dire consequences for the perpetrator. The chosen one is often seen as an instrument of higher powers, carrying out a mission that contributes to the greater good. By attempting to harm them, the perpetrator is not just attacking an individual, but they are also disrupting the divine plan and interfering with a higher purpose. This interference is seen as a grave transgression in the spiritual realm, leading to a significant spiritual backlash. One of the immediate spiritual consequences is the loss of blessings and guidance from higher powers. The person who attempts to harm a chosen one finds themselves cut off from the spiritual support they once received. This disconnection can manifest as a feeling of being lost, unsupported, and adrift in life. Without the guidance of higher powers, the perpetrator may struggle to find direction and purpose, leading to feelings of emptiness and despair. This act of harm invites negative energies and entities into the perpetrator's life. By engaging in such harmful behavior, they open themselves up to spiritual attacks and negative influences. These negative forces can wreak havoc on their mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being, making it difficult for them to find peace and harmony. The spiritual turmoil they experience is a direct result of their actions against the chosen one. When someone tries to harm the chosen one, the curse manifests in various ways, often leading to a series of unfortunate events. This curse is not merely about bad luck. It is a profound disruption of the individual's life, signaling that they have crossed a significant moral boundary. The universe, in its wisdom, steps in to correct this imbalance by making the consequences of their actions evident and unavoidable. One of the most common manifestations of this curse is a sudden and unexplainable decline in health. The person might experience chronic illnesses, unexplained pain, or a general deterioration in their well-being. This decline serves as a stark reminder of the negative energy they have released into the world by attempting to harm the chosen one. Their body becomes a reflection of the harm they intended, showing them the physical toll of their negative actions. Financial ruin is another severe manifestation of the curse. The individual may find themselves losing money unexpectedly, facing failed investments, or struggling with job loss. This financial hardship is not just a series of bad financial decisions, it is the universe's way of stripping away their material security to make them realize the gravity of their actions. By facing these challenges, they are forced to reevaluate their priorities and understand the value of integrity and goodwill. The curse can also unravel their personal relationships. Friends, family members, and colleagues may distance themselves, leaving the individual isolated and alone. This social isolation is a direct consequence of the negative energy they have propagated. The universe removes supportive relationships from their life, making them confront the emptiness and isolation that comes from harming others. This period of solitude can be incredibly challenging, but it serves as a crucial period of reflection and self-assessment. This curse serves as a lesson, and it may only stay until the perpetrator recognizes the harm they're doing and stops. However, this transformative process is far from immediate. It could unfold over months or even years as they grapple with the gravity of their deeds and strive for redemption. When someone harms you, especially if you are a chosen one, it is crucial to trust in the power of the universe to deliver justice. The universe operates on principles of balance and justice, and it will take care of those who act with malice.
Well, I thought that was a very interesting message. And, when I went to Ernestine's house, I had told her that I had had an anointing and that through spirit guides, I had found that I was told that I was had anointing to a general in God's army. I told her about my book, My Soul Purpose. And I flipped her table over on her delusional reality that she's in. The woman couldn't even go without watching a television at night while she slept. That's like heavy duty witchcraft programming right there. But I gave her a chance to tell me the truth. Talking about people who had been lying to me, I gave her that chance. And she didn't take it. And the end of September, 3 months after her and her family lied to me about calling the police on me, which glitched my mind out, made me paranoid, Ernestine died. It's amazing how you find out things too, because I had it all shut down and I still found out. And so that was the end of September. The beginning of October was very interesting as I go in and, I'm at the house shelter. I'm writing my book and I'm evaluating, leaving Washington State. And I will tell you that vision I had, that was my saving grace, really. And it's just like, did I do the right thing? Was I where I was meant to be? Why am I here? It was like all these questions, right? And it was kind of like the same time that it came about. And I had a very hard time getting the name of this house shelter correct. I'm like, I don't know, it's like the Life House, the Hope House, something like that. I don't know. And I finally came to this point where I really grasped the name of this shelter house, and it was the Life House. I was sitting there writing my book, and it was like, isn't this interesting? I am at the Life House writing my life story book. Now that right there is called confirmation. But, as I was writing my book and some of the stories, and I was writing about the woman, Cece, that I had ran into who told me that the rapture was coming. I was writing about the stories of her daughter that I had experiences with. We're going to call her BC, which is my stepbrother's first child's mama. These two were teenagers. She was 16 when she had that baby. I was like 14 at the time. And so it was very interesting that these few years, go along. They ended up not being together. And she would do everything she could to prevent him and our family from seeing this kid. She would say, oh, meet me here. And then, we go to show up there and she's not there. Just this BS game that she was pulling. And it's very interesting how things work out because I was placed around her quite a few times. And when I was 17, I spent time driving her and her boyfriend north from where she was living, which was about a 45-minute drive. When I was 18, I ran into her because she was pregnant when I was 17 and stuffed by her boyfriend, who was a African American black man. So I ran into her around the park and ride when I was 18 years old, and she had her baby, and I look at her baby and I'm like, wow, he's really light skinned. And she kind of, oh yeah, he's just lighter skinned, she kind of played it off. But down the line, I have a friendship with her and was involved with her on several things. I also, found out how Christian children are raised. It's kind of interesting. But anyhow, she ended up sharing with me that the kid that she had was not her boyfriend's kid. It was a Samoan guy's kid. That's what she claimed to me. And I ended up in a place with her boyfriend where I said, get a paternity test done. And he did. And it took many years before I found out. But I came to find out she never figured out who that kid's dad was. And it's very interesting how life plays out because she didn't have to fight anyone to see that kid. She had him all to herself. You might think that you can use Jesus Christ and do your bullshit, but that don't work. You do reap what you sow. And it's very interesting because how everything plays out, because when that kid, my stepbrother's daughter, got married, which was like, I don't know, 2017, probably around then, I was prevented from going to that wedding. I didn't really care because I had my own life. I was doing my own thing. I didn't really care, and I didn't know the girl anyways. But I know that came from BC, her mother. And but I also know and see how things play out because Cece, I hadn't seen her in years, and me seeing her on that day that I left Washington State was significant. It was significant. And by me being prevented from going to that wedding was just the emphasis of that significance when I was going to have that encounter with her. So it's very interesting how things play out. And, I really came, to, surrendering to my life that, there was a reason for why I was where I was at. We're just playing it out. And so I ended up also having a meeting with the DSS worker who was, I was doing very well working on myself. My daughter, she was, improving on some of her stuff. She was reading a lot of books and things, and she was improving. My son, he was having some struggles. And So, she made a visit to see how I was doing and how everything was going on and things, and did inform me that the month of October was her last month in the position that she was in. And so we came up, going along this week here of the 11th, where I pretty much, had most things shut down. I was only on Facebook. And so I went on Facebook and I seen this very intriguing message on a awakened group. There's a few that I'm a part of. And so it was very intriguing. The message was just intriguing by this man talking about women and da da da. And so I decided to reach out to him for friends. I kind of wanted to see where I was at with things, and some of my issues I had going on within me and stuff, because um, I've kind of had these issues with men. And it was very interesting because as I'm over here in the North South Carolina area, the year before I had came about where I had discovered that I did have a big problem, especially with black men. And it was something that I had to work on for sure, these right here, these right here. And so, anyhow, I made this friend request. We chatted for a few days there, a little bit back and forth. And I asked him questions, and, it was not a lot of energy put into it. So, after a couple days, I just kind of dropped it. And, I was pretty good, at that point. And so then on Thursday, the 10th, I had a visit with my children. And afterwards, I went to the park. I was going to the park every day and walking and stuff. And so I went for my walk and I came back around to the swing. So they have this swing. So I would sit on the swing. But this day, when I got there, there was a man sitting on the other side of the swing. But I sat down, I sat down on the other side, and the guy starts talking to me a little bit. He told me that I had beautiful eyes. I was thinking, yep, I've heard that before. And he asked me if I spoke Spanish, which I do not, and told me that he had lived in this area for 2 years and he worked down the road. And so, I sat there for a few minutes and stuff. And then when I got up to leave, he asked me to exchange a Facebook friend request thing, So I was like, okay, sure, maybe we can communicate and we'll see how this goes, So, so anyhow, the guy started messaging me right away. And so he ends up saying, I should have you over to my apartment sometime. And I'm thinking, I said, you don't even know me. And he's like, well, I could tell that you were a good person by your eyes. I'm just thinking, I know who I am. The question is, who are you? And so I ended up telling him, well, I don't live in the world that other people live in. And he said, "Well, what's that?" And so I said, "Well, I believe they lied to us about everything and that Earth is ascending and so am I." And he said, "I don't know what that is, but I should have you over to my apartment sometime." I could only think of one reason as to why I would go to that guy's apartment. He was almost 29 years old. He hardly spoke English. And I was just thinking, I'm just not down for dick time. I'm just not. Meaningless sex is not satisfying. So then he ended up asking me the magical question. He said, "How long has it been since your previous relationship?" And I said, "Yeah, that ended 6 months ago, but I was actually sent to him to teach him a lesson." And he responded back with, "My God, who is it that you work for seriously?" This is a big, fat learning lesson right here. Because I've had an issue with their stories. "Oh, they're cheating on me. Oh, they ghosted me." And they're doing the same bullshit. Now, isn't what I said truthful? It was the truth. It was 100% truth. I did teach Ronald lessons, and guess what? Ronald taught me lessons too. And that is what life is all about, is learning your lessons and growing up spiritually. And I could tell the level that he was on because I didn't play into the victimized game. You will get tested too, But, that was pretty quick, I was pretty much after that, like, let me see how quickly I can get rid of these guys. But, that's pretty much it. But the next morning on Friday, October 11th, this is good. I get to work. I was giving myself time, before going in. And so I ended up checking my Facebook fairly quickly there. And I had a friend request on there. It was from the podcaster, the one that I'm all crazy about when I left Washington State, telling him his girlfriend was compromising him and spiritually attacking him. He friend requested me. And so I accepted his friend request. And I went into work and I was sitting there and I'm like, why in the world would the podcaster friend request me? Things get quite interesting, I'm like, why in the world would he friend request me of all the people? And then I thought, maybe it was Ronald. Maybe he set up a fake account. So when I went to my break, I checked his account a little more in depth. And it was a fairly new account that had been created. And his girlfriend has an account on there that was a new account as well, the podcaster's girlfriend. And so I wasn't quite sure, but I sent the podcaster a message through Messenger with a thumbs up. And I did that because I wasn't quite sure if it was Ronald messing around or something. I don't know, but um, that was the thing that he disliked, you know. So I sent the podcaster a thumbs up and I sent him another message asking him, "Why did you friend request me?" And he looked at these messages were looked at. I could tell, you know, it shows the little face when it is checked on. They're looked at. And then I sent him a request because well, let me backtrack here for a moment. Now, this same morning that the podcaster friend request me, that I got this podcaster friend request, hours later, about 11 a.m., I got another message. Cal died. Step grandpa that I put away in prison when I was 10 died. I was actually surprised that that man was still alive when I found out New Year's Eve going into 2024. He was married to my grandmother and she died like 20 years ago. He was old when I put him away in prison. I was very surprised that he was still alive. But he died. Ironically, the podcaster was the one who I used to do my healing from the whole beard trauma thing. I just didn't do beards. And Ronald, my little 23-year-old boyfriend, he had a beard, trying to play that he was older. But um, you know, so that was very interesting how that played out. And then I later that evening, and well, another thing was very interesting was because as I was writing my book the night before, I had actually gone through this whole gratitude of really making, you know, forgiveness of the whole situation and things with Cal. I do take it that I came here to teach some boys some lessons. And Cal taught me a lot about sex, and boys like sex. So, you know, well, you know, especially when they have dick problems, they just can't control that thing. But, and you know, that was shown to me by that guy at the park who wanted me to go to his house, to his apartment. Yeah. But anyhow, I did send the podcaster another message later on saying, yeah, you know, I did that trauma healing with him with the beard thing, but you know, I'm good. I think I'm good on that whole thing. Who wants to be with a guy who has hair all over his face? Seriously, you know? So, so, you know, as I went along with that, I had come to decide that that was just the sign that I needed to completely check out and see how things rolled out here. Because as I came to this brand new state, I had decided not to register to vote. And I knew that whole election thing was coming up. So I decided that I was going to shut things down and see how I found out, you know? See how this show plays out and get others' ideas of things off my mind and work on my own mind. So we are going to take a little break here and show some pictures and play a song that was a song that I really started listening to on my way to work. It's very fitting. And so I'm going to play that song and show these pictures.
Yeah, I like that. I see the tension, it's rising. Put in the work, there's no hiding. I'm ready for whatever's coming. I'm running and leaving the hate all behind me. I see the world as my playground. I'm making plays, I don't play around. King on the throne and I'm taking whatever I want. Put 'em up while I put it down. It's a long shot, but my aim's steady. When it comes down, better believe I'll be ready. Yeah, ready for it. I'm ready for it. Ready for it. When the fight comes, I'll be ready for it. Yeah, ready for it. Ready for it. I ain't going down, I ain't going down. I back down to no one, I'm a cold one. Bet you heard about me, I'm a lone wolf. I don't need a pack, I just bounce back. Why you ever doubt me? I'm a +2 plus my IQ is the reason I'm popping the bottom, yeah. When the fight comes, and my palms sweaty, I ain't backing down. Better believe I'll be ready. Ready for it. When the fight comes and I'm all alone. Ready for it. When there's no one around. Ready for it. I'm ready for it. Ready for it. Till I'm ready for it. Till I'm ready for it. Better believe I'll be ready. Yeah. Ow. I'm ready for it. I said I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. Ready for it. Better believe I'll be ready.
They wanted me to live in the real world, but to me, it seemed to be the most fake place on earth. Create the reality you want. If you want to change your life, change the way you think. You can never create a new reality without leaving your old ways of thinking. To create new reality, you'll need to envision it. You'll need to feel as if it's already fulfilled. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between your feelings and your current reality. It will start working in the direction of your feelings. If you can feel the exact emotions of whatever reality you want to create, you will start vibrating with it. That will help in attracting your manifestation. Your imaginations can become your cage or freedom. Use it wisely.
Take a look around. Do you see her anywhere? News flash. You're not gonna.
I'm ready for it, and I am the creator of my own reality. And that old version, whatever one that you have in your mind, I'm not her. I promise. I'm not her. She ain't here. So, anyhow, we're going to ask some questions here. Do rules apply or can they be changed? Who is responsible for taking care of my body? Who is responsible to take care of my mental health? Was I right where I was meant to be? Who has the power to change my reality? Was my story the truth about Ronald? Do people really get away with BS? And how is it that the last deceiver and the first deceiver died within weeks of each other? Weeks. It's very symbolic, actually, and like the end of something, you know? And who runs this game that we're in? Because it is an energy game. So who runs it? Who runs this game? So my conclusion of things, is that everything is energy. You don't get away with BS. It's very interesting that these past few years, I had Robert die, Dick the Preacher Man die, Ernestine, and then Cal. I had one person tell me that Ronald should be happy that he's even alive, considering all the people that have died around me. My spirit team don't play around. They ain't playing around. You know, I wanted Dick the Preacher Man to be alive, you know? I did. I wanted his butt to be alive. I was disappointed when I heard he was dying. Like, damn. I wanted him to be alive. But, you know, sometimes God clears the path for you. Spirit, the universe has a way of clearing things out for you because it is a new world. It is a new game and it's about energy. It is all about energy. It's not about the control and manipulation. And, you know, everyone has their own reality. They have their own reality. And, you know, the thing is that there's only one when you come in here, and there's only one when you leave out of here. You can't take the world with you. You can't take your religion with you. You can't take your idols with you. That includes Jesus Christ. And people hold on to those ideas and those beliefs of things, not knowing who they are, not learning their learning lessons. I'd like to think that Cal had actually learned that learning lesson. You know, it wasn't too long after, you know, pretty much by the time he got out, they were registering sex offenders. So I'm sure that that was the learning lesson that he needed, you know. And maybe it was the thing that kept him here for so much longer too, you know, that he maybe learned a few things while he was in prison facing himself. And I know who I am, and I know what I am here for, and I know that my book is part of my journey to help teach others, because you can keep on going along with the same BS game, but you're going to come back in to the same realm, the same BS, the same bullshit that you have been dealing with for lifetimes even. Nobody's going to save you. And it truly takes some courage to face yourself, but you know, you go back into a, you know, delusional matrix world where religion has you in bondage and government has you in bondage, or you can choose to break free from it. It's all your choice. And that's the prison right there. It's right in your mind. So, you know, when you take over your own power over what you have, you know, learning about yourself, learning your lessons, learning the things that you came here to overcome. It's really amazing when I can't come to really see it, because it is truly like a game, because everything because I can see how I have been totally 100% prepared for this time, but I also had all kinds of obstacles put in my way to prevent me from doing the things I came here to do as well. And it's only me who's going to overcome those obstacles and, go to the next level of things. Kind of like Mario, Mario, that's a game that I played back in the day. And, you got to get through some stuff. And sometimes, challenges get a little harder to make it to the end. But, I came here to do some stuff. I came here to help people with changing their realities, really, because your reality is what you make it to be. Two people can go into a store, and one can be treated one way and one can be treated another way, because it's what's within here. And when you change your mind, you change your thinking, your life will change. It will change out here for you. And so I had to go through, I had to learn it, I learned it, I learned it. And so had something last week happen, and I know why it happened. It was because I put it out. I spoke it. I manifested it. And so, those things will happen. And so I had to come to see it. And so when you truly, look at your life and your reality and the things that you have done, it is all about learning and growing. And when we learn and grow, we can teach and help others. And, we can flip this world around too, because the world is nothing more than people's shadows and their stuff from inside of them. And once you start shutting it down, you get more freedom. Every new beginning equals more freedom. It's up to you to break free from the bondage. Nobody's going to do it for you. You can get the help and guidance from someone who has done it, who, and that's the thing. And that's how we truly learn and grow, is that, there's people who are more, at a higher level, at a different level, maybe a different category. And we all can learn and grow from each other. And we all are one. We all have a piece of the Spirit of God within us. No one's not any better from doing it. All it takes is for you to decide, I'm worth it, my soul's worth it, and I'm going to put the work into me to change my life and my reality, create heaven on earth, because that's what we're truly here for, create heaven on earth. And once we start to do that, our reality and our world will change. And that's the split going on, is which one are you going to live out? See, the churches have been preaching this satanic antichrist thing for over a century. They started doing that in the 1800s. Now you see how everything plays out. You can't unsee it when you see it. So, people will stay in it and live that reality out, or they come out of it. Fear is the devil. Shame is the devil. Guilt is the devil, and it's all within you. That's your Satan kingdom, within you. but the kingdom of God is within you too. To learn to love your life and thrive and create peace. You know what? You are just a piece of God living your own journey with your own experiences, your own learning lessons. You know, the control and stuff that we put on our own children here. And truly, when you rewire your connections out of other people's delusional realities, they don't quite like it. But, and no more playing the victim game. But, the thing is that we are here to learn and grow, learn our lessons and grow, and that's the change that I'm here for. And when we do that, we can get to a beautiful place, empowering ourselves. They got children moving objects with their minds. We are very powerful, but we have to put the inner work in to get to those points. There's so many things that we can learn about and experience. They used to consciously be able to grow land. And I do believe the pyramids was not done by the handwork of man, but by the power of consciousness to move objects. Could you imagine? Because that's the world where we're going to eventually. That is the 5D earth, And when we come together and work together, we'll have that peace and unity and be able to do some incredible things. But we first have to break free from the bondages, reprogramming ourselves, changing our thoughts, changing our views, changing our perspective, And I choose to co-create with the universe, with spirit. And so, in my life and my reality is all that matters. And all the other delusional stuff, people can live that dream life out. It's their choice. They're the ones who choose to divide and separate, and nobody can make them create peace and have unity. It all begins within them. So, let's do this. Seriously, let's do it. And so I can only do me. So I take what resonates. Remember, it's just an energy game. It's just an energy game. And your emotions, balancing your nervous system, not being afraid of things, those things just make such a big difference for you. Trusting your life and your journey. Like, there's a reason why you're where you're at. Learn and grow from it. And that's truly what I've been doing here over this past year. And it's just amazing when you change the script, change the script. And so I'm grateful for anyone who's listening. We're here to change. And I'm grateful for being here during this time to change. I'm grateful that I've gone down the journey I've gone down. I've flipped some stuff over on that delusional world that people wanted to create, throw in all kinds of stuff because that kingdom is burning down for sure. So I'm grateful for my health And I'm grateful for being able to see all the signs in my life and to learn and grow. I'm offering help with trauma healing from, the religious trauma, narcissistic abuse. I have the gift of being very introspective and, even taking back your power. If you want help with that, I have tools. I've done a lot of work on myself, a huge amount. I made strides week after week after week. The most powerful thing you can do is control your mind. And your mind will believe whatever it wants to tell you. And Ronald taught me that. Convincing myself that I want to be with some guy half my age who hardly could get his crap together. Well, you know what? I learned and I grew and I'm better for it, and so I can convince myself of anything. Future shows following my story from 2024. I got one on 11/5/25, which was the election night and a reveal. And I'm going to be releasing another Alisha review next week, going from villain to Adjustment Bureau. And so I ask you to like, share, subscribe, and donate. Links are in the bio, along with my email. Enjoy your day and your life, and brighter days are ahead. Believe and receive. Love you.
Let's do this. Are you ready for a comeback? Are you ready to fly? Are you ready for the moment? Get ready to ride. Calling all the fighters. Calling all, we can take it higher. Let's do this. Can you feel the fire running through your veins? Now you're burning brighter. Don't look away. Shout out to the legends, rising from the wreckage. Count down the seconds. It's out your engines. Let's do this. Got a long way to go. I know we've got a long road home. I know we've got a long way to go.
to. Yeah, we do just what we want to.